To each and every one of you LSU Tiger fans, it is a great and glorious morning here in the 2025 year, or the year of our Lord of 2025. I hope all of you had a very great night last night. I know that my wife and I did, and my family did. It was a spectacular night. LSU had a really good day on New Year's Eve. We're going to talk about all of it as LSU beats Baylor 44-31. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. We are going to talk about things that were really good. I thought Garrett was very sharp in a lot of moments outside of the turnover and the interception that he threw, and I got to be honest with you. I actually didn't mind the interception. And I'll tell you why I didn't mind the interception yesterday. I hate turnovers more than anybody, and I hate turnovers more than anything. But why this turnover that Garrett had yesterday didn't bother me at all. So we'll talk about the good. We'll talk about the bad. Man, how bad is this thing for Whit Weeks? Brian Kelly says he may be able to be back for spring football. That's probably the best case scenario of what that injury could have been and what it looked like. So we'll break down the game. We'll talk about it in its entirety from the opening kickoff until the final kneel down from yesterday. What LSU now going into an offseason for a 2025 season is going to have to do, not an opinion anymore. You've seen what you have. You've seen the floor. You have in certain areas a very high ceiling, and I think in some areas and position groups, you have a very, very low floor. Very low floor that we got to touch on and talk about here this morning. Hope all of you are doing well. Hope all of you are doing good. Do us a favor, by the way, if you don't mind, on this great and glorious morning. Hit the like and share. Share all those groups and all those social media pages. We greatly appreciate y'all doing that. We'll get to your call. We'll get to your comments. We'll get to your questions. We'll get to your concerns. We'll get to your super chats. Just like a normal post-game show, do us the favor. Send in the super chats. All of them will be read. We'll do live call-ins at the end of the show here. We're going to treat this like a normal post-game show to start off the new year. Couple of quick notes. Need you to do me a favor. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Share to all those groups on Facebook. If you haven't done so already, subscribe on YouTube. We greatly appreciate y'all doing that. And I got to mention and thank our good friends over at betonline.ag, where the action starts. Guys, there's going to be a lot of playoff games today. Me and my co-host on the national show, Joe, are going to be breaking them down after each and every game. So go over to Rufino and Joe show to catch all those clips after these games. But go to betonline.ag. You can use the promo code BELIEVE50. BELIEVE50. The logo is right here next to my right shoulder. Or I guess that'd be, I don't know how y'all are viewing it. Maybe y'all's left, but my right. But Believe, BLEAV 50 at checkout. You'll get us 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, where the action starts. Also, Bayou Traditions. Our good friends over Bayou Traditions, have you given your contribution in this new year? And our good friends over at The Athletic Collection, theathleticcollection.com, shop-tac.com as well for all of your LSU gear. One last quick programming thing but one last thing before we get to this game, and I'm going to try not to spend a lot of time on this, but something that you and I need to discuss this morning as we are coming on the air. Last night, a cowardless act was done in the city of New Orleans, in the heart of the state of Louisiana, and what they're considering an attack. Last night or this morning, some spineless coward thought and did an action that is undescribable. It is unimaginable in the city of New Orleans. I don't know all of the facts. I'm not going to come out here and act like I know all of the facts. I am praying for all of those who lost their lives last night. I am praying for all those who were injured. I am praying for all of those who were celebrating a new year and may never see a loved one again. I thank the police for when now we are seeing video footage of when these acts started coming in, that a terrorist barreling down at them, they didn't flinch. So you can have your opinions. I'm not here to change your mind. But last night or this morning, terror struck the great state of Louisiana. We are a resilient people, and I pray to God up above that whoever did this, orchestrated this, and led this goes and meets their maker very early in the 2025 calendar year. Spineless, cowardice. We are praying for all of those in the great city of New Orleans. I always hope and wish that when things like this that unfortunately happen, that we as a society can come together. I hope that that happens. But if there is one thing that we as a people should be able to rally behind, is none of us stand for this, no matter our religion, race, creed, no matter what. When you attack us on our own soil, we take revenge from that. So again, we are praying for all of those inside the city of New Orleans. We're praying for our country. Thank you to all those first responders who would lay down their life for, and the ultimate sacrifice for, our freedoms. All right. Felt compelled that we needed to talk about that. So everybody in the great state of Louisiana, we're going to be strong. But the spineless cowardice act by one individual, allegedly, my goodness. All right. Couple of super chats are flying in. I'm going to get to one of them. P. Scott with a $5 super chat says, does LSU need to get a running back out of the portal? 100%. She says, it seems as if KJ is in the doghouse. Caleb Jackson. We're going to talk about that, P. Scott. Yes, I do think LSU needs to go get a portal running back. I've been screaming this from the rafters even since last offseason. I guess, people didn't really want to listen to it, but you need a portal running back. We're going to talk about that here today. All right, let's get rolling. Everybody does us a favor and hits the like and share to all those groups and all those social media pages. So LSU beats Baylor 44-31 yesterday. And look, this is what we're going to do. I have about 5 or 6 really good things and 5 or 6 really bad things that I think that I walked away from in this game. Going into the 2025 year, some things that I thought were exceptional and some things, man, that either number one, you went out into the portal and you got guys and more talent that could be able to help you with that position, or you went into high school recruiting and maybe one of those bona fide 5-star freshmen will be able to help you in these certain areas, or you hit the portal. Some areas you have not hit the portal yet, and you need to either right now during the spring window, or you're going to have to figure something out. So let's talk about them. I don't want to start off with bad. I want to start off with some things that went good. Now, Garrett Nussmeier yesterday went 24 of 34, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did have the interception. I have been very critical of Garrett in situations where he's been turning the ball over. Guys, he has 17 total turnovers in his first year as a starter. Yesterday, I thought against what a defense that ranked in the 80s in passing yards allowed, ranked in the 80s in rushing defense, Garrett was decisive. Garrett knew where he needed to go. And here was the outright truth. You as an offense in the passing game were more explosive. You utilized your speed with Chris Hilton. You utilized your speed with Aaron Anderson. And then when you got in the red area or the red zone, which, by the way, Baylor was 16th in the country and not allowing turnovers in the red zone all year long, you were able to do some special things with a guy who, quite frankly, showed during the 12 practices. It would seem as if that Brian Kelly came out here and said, or at least Frank Wilson came to Brian Kelly and said, listen, we don't have a tight ends coach. I'm helping out with tight ends. I think Tre'Dez Green could be ready to go. And Brian Kelly alluded to this in his postgame. Look, we challenged Tre'Dez Green to be an inline blocker, to be better. And he put his head down, and he got beat up in moments. Brian Kelly alluded to Tre'Dez Green, who we're going to start off with the first good thing, then we'll go to Nuss. But he described it as Tre'Dez Green through these 12 practices in the learning aspect was like crawling over sandpaper. That he probably wasn't staying up past 7 or 8 o'clock at night because he was so sore. But that practice, that environment, that situation made Tre'Dez Green, who yesterday had 6 catches for 53 yards and both of those touchdowns that were in the red zone, he can be a massive weapon for you. Do I think that he's got to get better in some situations on the inline and blocking? 1,000%. 1,000%, I believe that Tre'Dez is going to have to be better and establish better footwork, better hand placement, better dominance on the inline of scrimmage. But, man, you can tell that he is better in that part. Garrett even said in the postgame himself that he told Tre'Dez, like, hey, man, we're going to go to you at the red zone a lot. And the second pass that Garrett Nussmeier had in the red zone, he did go to Tre'Dez Green. Found him in the back of the end zone for the first touchdown. He is a special human being. Tre'Dez Green is. When you talk about recruiting and you talk about a freshman and you talk about, well, why aren't they playing this guy or what's going on here? I think during this offseason, I'm sure Tre'Dez Green will start matriculating his way to basketball. I really think for that young man, I haven't really seen him play basketball, and I don't know what's going to happen with him there. His future is probably in this sport, it being football. Now, let's see what he does in basketball, but I think it's going to be in football. He can be, guys, he has the height, the weight, the work ethic, and the ability to be very special. Yesterday, he showed that to you, running away from safeties, high pointing the football, running away from linebackers, and physically dominating. There was one run by Caden Durham late into the game when LSU finally started establishing a running game and stopped pity-patting around, that Tre'Dez Green got up to the second level and got a massive block on a linebacker that springed Caden Durham. I thought that his emergence answered a massive question for you. Hey, you went out and got Bauer Sharp in the portal from Oklahoma, the one-time Southeastern Lion. A lot of questions have been coming. Are you going to utilize Tre'Dez in a situation where he's going to be your number 2 or / number 1 tight end? In my humble opinion, this kid can – all right, I see the vision. Got to put in the work, but I see the vision. I would also expect it tight end with Bowersharp also coming in along with J.D. LaFleur that Bo Borderline needs to move to tight end. Without a doubt. Bo Borderline started at right guard yesterday and had a I don't think he's ready. I think he can take on inline guys. I think you need to put number 89 on him. And if you want to go big packages and you want to use him as a blocking tight end, you go right on ahead. It will make you one-dimensional, and people will know what you're doing. But I think from a depth perspective, you need to go ahead and do that. So, Tre'Dez Green, the number one thing for me, the biggest show out. Let's get to Garrett. So, look, I've been really tough on Garrett, as I mentioned earlier, on turnovers. I'm always going to be tough on turnovers. You should be too. Let's cut the BS. 2024, you and I had a lot of discussions about turnovers. A vocal minority of you came on me, pause, but you came after me saying that I was too hard on him. I'm going to be hard on anybody when it comes to you playing in 13 games and you having 17 turnovers. It's too much. You're lucky you didn't get to 20 because there were some fumbles in there that you recovered. You're lucky. Garrett had an interception yesterday when the game was not completely out of reach, and Baylor could have gotten back into it. I don't mind the pick. I don't mind the interception. Let me tell you why. Because the interceptions that Garrett has or the turnovers that he had been having have been massive mental mistakes, right? Massive mental mistakes. In reference to you're rolling out left and you're throwing the ball up to a 5'8 receiver and you're just making boneheaded decisions. I cannot live with those. A defensive end or outside backer, whatever you want to call him, drop back into coverage. Garrett did not anticipate him dropping back into coverage. The safety comes down. He blitzes. The DN outside backer drops back. He gets in a throwing lane. Garrett doesn't see it. It's a timing route. He gets picked off. Okay. I mean, you got out schemed by Dave Aranda. You got out mastermind by Dave Aranda. And for me, that's a Dave Aranda special. Chalk it up. Checkmate. Good job. Good on him. Do you want to eliminate that turnover? 1,000%. But I'm not worried about I as a person, as a human being, I can live with that being what happened. I can live with you just got fooled on a defensive coordinator that throws you a crap load of exotic shit. Dave knew that you were probably going to a slant route there. And Dave had been calling defense for Baylor all year. He drops an outside backer out. Safety comes down. By the way, Tyree Adams, we're going to get to in a minute. What an exceptional pickup by Tyree Adams and a very freakish athletic pass set to get to a safety that gave a massive lane for Garrett to throw in. You got picked off. So what? I can live with those. You can't have a lot of them, but I can live with that. But Garrett went 24 of 34 for 304 yards. The truth was, Garrett from the Florida game when Brian Kelly got massively involved in play calling until now has been a better decision maker. It's gotten better. It is getting better. They are, and they have been pushing for him and pushing to him. Take the stuff that is open. Take what they are going to give you, and those shots down the field will be there later on in the game. And that's exactly the game plan that, number one, Garrett executed, and number two, that LSU wanted to do going into the game. They did it flawlessly. There was a time there where Garrett had 11 straight completions, or 10 of 11 in second, third quarter-ish, or going first, second quarters, whenever that stretch was. Very phenomenal. To a receiving core who had Chris Hilton, who we'll talk about in a moment, but had Chris Hilton, Aaron Anderson, and then you didn't know what you had. You know Xavier Thomas could do some things, but you really didn't know what you had. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. And that room via the portal with Nick Anderson and Barry and Brown will be better. We'll get to them next. I thought Garrett, I don't think that how do I want to say this? I don't think that there's been anybody that has ever come out here, not on this show, not me, not you, if you're relatively thinking with a brain and hearing what someone is saying. No one believes that Garrett does not have the physical ability and everything that he needs to be an exceptionally great quarterback, an elite quarterback. It's always been about the decision-making. Yesterday, he showed really good decision-making, and it paid off, and it was very, very good. What does Garrett look like going into 2025? Here's my humble opinion. He's got to go, look, man, the blueprint is here. The blueprint is here in reference to what a fifth-year quarterback, multi-time starter at LSU can do. Can he take that next step? The biggest thing that Garrett's got to work on, footwork, decision-making. That's it. Quite frankly, it's exactly what Jaden Daniels had to go through. It's the same exact thing. Same thing Burrow had to go through. You and I talked about this during the offseason with Jaden before coming into the 2023 season when he won the Heisman. Footwork, decision-making. Let it rip. I think Garrett's got to know what the defense gives him. If he does that, man, he's going to be tough to stop. You're seeing the progression with a guy that's starting to get some starts under his belt. He was my number 2. Let's get to the wide receiver room. Number 3. So I was really interested, and we had talked about this going into, I know we talked a lot about portal, but a lot has been focused on receiver these last couple of weeks, mainly due to the fact that you go out and you get Barry and Brown from Kentucky, and that you go out and you get Nick Anderson from Oklahoma. And both of those guys, you're wanting to come in here and be bona fide starters, all SEC caliber dudes. That's why you go and get them. You pay them the money that you're going to pay them to be here. I think that LSU's receiving room, which this is not a newsflash to anybody, when you see the play that you can get from Aaron Anderson, when you see the play that you can get from Chris Hilton like you did yesterday, and it's not just a fade route from Chris Hilton that you got from him yesterday, the quick slant that he broke off for 23 yards, the quick hitch that he had, it opened up everything else for him because you can't play off coverage on him. Joe Sloan yesterday showed, and the play calling that they had for Chris was exceptional. Throw him a quick slant and watch him go to work. They will come down, take the top off the defense. It's going to work on everyone because of his speed. Chris Hilton showed out yesterday, and what a healthy Chris Hilton can do. Guys, the last 2 games, Chris Hilton has 3 touchdowns, almost, and probably should have been 4. He shows you and has shown you that ever since him and Brian Kelly got into it in the sidelines, what he can do. We've always wanted to see, and we've always been wondering, what does a healthy, mature, physically gifted Chris Hilton do when he is given the ability and he's given the play time, what he can do? You saw that on full display yesterday. He's running away from dudes. The second one, number 1, if he's not pass interfered with, but if Garrett leads him a little bit more, he would have 2 touchdowns. The only complaint that I had about the receiving room yesterday or the passing game yesterday, you went away from him. You went away from him in the second half. Why? Why in good gracious ass bodacious, flirtatious, shine a show? Like, why in the good wide world are you going away from Chris Hilton? They did not stop him. But back to the original point. Now with the additions of Nick Anderson, Barian Brown, and what you saw yesterday from Aaron Anderson, which you had seen all year, and what you get from a healthy Chris Hilton, just talking about the receiving room, wide receiver room, because it could be very special. Now, it's not missed upon me, and I know that it's not missed upon you, that if you follow LSU and if you just follow college football in general, oh, LSU has a really good wide receiver room. That's not a newsflash to anybody. Yesterday was your floor. What do I mean by that? Yesterday was your floor in the sense of now you got two massive weapons that are going to walk through that door. And potentially three with Destin Hill. We'll see what happens. LSU has not confirmed that technically, social media-wise. But what could he even evolve into being? I think from the wide receiver room alone, you took what could have been a very bad situation with C.J. Daniels leaving and Kyron Lacy leaving. You were in a dire spot. Now look at you with the potential to do something and be something very special. I don't want to overreact to a bowl game, but you are now more explosive. And this is the biggest takeaway from me in the entire game. The biggest takeaway from me in the LSU game versus Baylor yesterday was how much different you looked offensively. You are more explosive at the wide receiver position because you didn't have two big-bodied wide receivers that, quite frankly, can't take the top off of the defenses. Everybody's going to play too high. They're going to keep everything in front of you because Kyron Lacy and C.J. Daniels, with all due respect to the both of them, neither one of them scared you of getting down the field. Now, the time that Kyron Lacy did it against Ole Miss, you're in man-to-man coverage, good on you. But that's what everybody did to you all season. You looked more explosive yesterday offensively in the passing game because you were more explosive yesterday. Now, there were some drives in there, and we'll talk about them. Like the second drive that LSU had offensively, you had a 3-and-out. It was the drive early in the game when you kept throwing those stupid-ass screen routes. Get vertical, not lateral. You were explosive. And I look at the four options that you have in Barian Brown, Nick Anderson, Aaron Anderson, Chris Hilton. I think if you got in a debate with somebody, I could make the argument that LSU has the best receiving core in the SEC, and you're starting to scratch like, hey, man, the potential that LSU could have in that wide receiver room could be one of the better ones in the nation. Chris Hilton showed up. He showed out. Massive game for him. The only complaint that I have there is that you did not go back to him more. Last thing I want to talk about that I thought was really good here before we get to some things that LSU's got to fix. I thought the O-line played really well. Now, I see a lot of people talking about how LSU did not allow a sack yesterday on Garrett. Not a lot of pressure. It's not Baylor's game, man. They do not have a perennial pass rusher. I also thought that Sam Acho, I think that's his name, the commentator, I thought he was god-awful. Some of the shit that he was saying, LSU's O-line is this and that. First off, shut up. Second off, you're an idiot. Third off, I thought that this offensive line that had 4 brand new starters on it pretty much, and I'm throwing Paul Mabenga in there, played exceptionally well. I want to go to the first drive very quickly. The first drive going into the game, You had a 5-yard run, a 16-yard run, and then Caden Durham had a couple of carries where nothing generated. That is on Caden Durham. He's missing the hole. He's tiptoeing to the line of scrimmage. That's on your running back. That ain't on your O-line. They ran the counter play twice and dominated and pushed dudes around in the interior. That's the truth. A lot of people out here in this media corps are defending the running back and skill positions. Of course they are. They always do. And they're not talking about the reality of you getting pushed up front. You had 4 brand new starters up there. Give or take. You put in Cohen Eccles. You put in Bo Bordelon. You put in Tyree Adams. And Paul Mabinga, who does have some starts, is in at left guard. You had Miles Frazier at right tackle, and I'll give you that. But the truth is you rotated a lot of offensive linemen in there yesterday. And I thought that there were moments and times where I was not worried about pressure coming after Garrett, where I thought that you did some good things in the running game. Now, got to get better in some instances. You're bringing in Josh Thompson, probably going to play right guard. You're bringing in Moore, going to be your center. What do you do with DJ Chester? I don't know. But Tyree Adams showed me that he can be a really good left tackle. The decision-making, and we talked about Tyree Adams a lot during the preseason. You know, a lot of you had asked, Blake, who do you think, just being out of practice, who do you think would be the 6th offensive lineman? It was always Tyree Adams unless you needed a center. Tyree played exceptional. The pass blitz pickups that he had, I think you saw a guy in Tyree Adams that has the athletic ability, that saw an All-American in front of him, and he learned, he waited his turn, and I thought he played very well. So the O-line yesterday, who had at moments and times 4 new starters that were going to be in there. Oh, and by the way, you're getting better there. Thompson's going to come in and he's a road raider. That dude eats nails for breakfast. I mean, and he's doing that in the Big Ten with good defensive linemen. He's pushing dudes around. More. I thought that I think he's going to be very good for you. So you get better at the offensive line, and Brian Kelly says we're not done in the portal at offensive line too. So we'll go ahead and we'll wait and see there. So I think that they had a really good, I think considering for most of these guys, it was a first start scenario and situation. I thought that they had a good game. All right. We got to get to a couple things here. Let's get to some things that I thought were bad and that got to change. We'll get to your super chat. So thoughts, questions, concerns. We read all the super chats here. Throw them in there. Then we'll get to some phone calls. The first thing yesterday for me that is inevitable, that has got to change. Guys, your secondary sucks. That's the truth. There is a reason, and we finally got validation on why Sage Ryan and Major Burns have been playing. The question always was, is Brian Kelly playing seniority over talent? And I thought safety play yesterday was abysmal. Guys, you gave up 445 passing yards. Baylor did nothing special. They ran swing passes. They ran quick slants. They ran back shoulder fades. They ran fades. It's pretty much their entire game. And they absolutely carved you up. They carved you up. Nothing exceptional. They ran one double move that you got beat on. They ran a sluggo for a touchdown. You don't see sluggos in practice? Like, I mean, guys, safety was abysmal yesterday. Now, I thought that Jordan Gilbert played moderately well, and I'm sure during this offseason he's going to have to, I think that he's been banged up this season. I think he's going to get some rest going into the offseason. Guys, you need a safety in the portal now. The only way that LSU is going to get away with better safety play, even though I thought Toviano was better than Sage Ryan yesterday, it's not good enough. Now, the kid's in his, I say first start, but he started in 2023 at corner. Guys, this kid is going into year 3. Like, this is, goodness gracious. I mean, like, he's played football. He's played some football for you and meaningful snaps. Very meaningful snaps. And even though I thought from a tackling perspective, he was better than Sage Ryan, and he was better than Sage Ryan. Guys, he's better than Sage Ryan from a tackling aspect. It's just not good enough. Boundary corner. I thought Zy Alexander played okay. I thought he played fine, and he's not going to be here. Guys, Ashton Stamps got picked on. And you're bringing in Mansour Delane, and the question's going to be where does he play? Is he going to be on the boundary at corner? Is he going to be at safety? It doesn't matter at this point. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter. Put him wherever, because it's better than what you got right now. This entire DB room needs to go into the offseason and get their asses to work quickly. Guys, you let Sawyer Robertson throw for 445 yards on your ass. You got your asses busted in the secondary. That's just the God's honest truth. 445 yards. Nothing special. Sawyer Robertson went 30 of 51 for 445 yards, 2 touchdowns. And here's the thing. They missed a lot of shit. Baylor missed a lot yesterday. Multiple fade routes where you're clearly beat. They missed. I mean, Baylor played an awful football game at a moment in times. That's the truth. You will play better teams in 2025 that will execute on the plays that Baylor missed, and they will whip your ass. I don't know what you're going to do. I really don't. But here's what I know. If you don't go get a safety, you are in trouble. It's not an opinion anymore. Now, when I say safety, a lot of you think that I'm talking about star. I thought that Devon Keys played fine at that star position. I'm talking about the back safety roles, the guys at free and strong. It was not good. That is the safety room for what it's worth. And the corner room, not good enough. I pray to sweet Jesus that DJ Pickett, the number 1 corner in the country, 6'3", 6'4", can come in here and be a bona fide day 1 starter. He had a rough camp. He had a rough ball practice experience. Talking to some sources, he showed you why he is a 5-star dude. He made some exceptional plays. He also got humbled by Chris Hilton and others. Of course he did. Kid should be getting ready for in 2 months to go to a high school prom, 3 months, whatever it is. 1,000%. But I pray to God that he can come in here and be a day one guy. He's got to put on weight. Guys, he's too little. He's too skinny. He's got to go. He's got to have a massive offseason his damn self. He needs to go to Rejuvenate. Isn't that what it's called, Rejuvenate? Go to Rejuvenate. Get some of that TRT. Get it now. Eat your ass off. Guys, your secondary is god awful. It's god awful. All right. I could spend all day on that. Number 2, before I get to running back, because Peace got talked about it, asked about it, and I'm going to go back to that in just a minute. Field goal. I'm not blaming Damian Ramos for a damn thing. Here's the truth. You got bullied twice. Guys, as a protector on field goal or extra point, I know that most young men don't have the mentality. I'm going to choose my words carefully here and try not to curse. You have to have the mentality of being the ultimate MFer. You sit there and you absorb a hit to protect a kick. Special teams literally won you the last 2 football games. From a momentum aspect. Xavier Thomas returning a kickoff, 90-plus yards, and what may be in a long time that LSU has returned 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns in back-to-back games. By the way, Barry Brown owns the SEC record with 5 kick and punt return touchdowns in the SEC. It's a record. You have Aaron Anderson that can do it, Xavier Thomas that can do it, and Barry Brown that can do it. But championship teams are going to be in situations where they're in field goal range and you have to execute. This has been god-awful. Snaps have been god-awful. Holding has been god-awful. Now, you went and got a punter. And I think Aaron Burrell's got the biggest leg that we've seen in quite some time at LSU. I fully believe that. But my God, with you having analysts that now can coach 24/7 on field, I am going to pay whoever, Greg McMahon or whoever, I am bringing in a true special teams coach today. Happy New Year to whoever you hire, because this divvying up special teams, especially field goals, is dog shit. It's dog water. I am sick and tired of us getting bullied on a field goal protection. Bo Bordelon, God bless him, got absolutely demolished by a guy that's 265 pounds. And a field goal got blocked. Then, when Baylor is trying to recover the kick, okay, you have a punter that got portaled over, that is your holder, that was too scared to fall on a football. The lack of effort is eye-opening and stupid. The very next time that LSU, which, by the way, Baylor would go down and score, so this is what happened. The blocked field goal, Baylor would get the ball. They would have a pass of 13 yards, 15 yards, 35 yards, 8 yards, 8 yards, touchdown. The next time that you touch the football, Xavier Thomas takes a 90-plus yard kick return to the house. Don't tell me that special teams are not a big deal. It's a massive deal. But this is what has been getting your ass whooped in that 3-game stretch when you did get your ass whooped. Special teams played a massive factor in it, whether it be Florida, whether it be A&M for the God bless Jesus, whatever game it is. Good Lord. How is this not fixed? It is mind-boggling dumb. All right. Couple more things here. You ran the ball for 114 yards yesterday. Guys, Baylor is god-awful defending the run. They were 87th in the country in rushing defense this year in the Big 12. 87th. 87th. And you couldn't line up and run the fucking football. I'm tired, personally, I am tired of hearing, and this might be just being a former O-lineman myself. I am tired. I am sick and tired of hearing that all of these issues are on your offensive line, these run game issues. It's not. Because last night, what I did this morning, because me and Joe are going to be breaking down the Penn State and Boise State game, I went and watched Penn State and Boise in its entirety this morning. We were at a wedding last night, so I woke up this morning and watched it in its entirety. And here's what I saw. I saw what a good running back on both sides, when O-line is physically giving you everything they have, what a jump cut and not tiptoeing to the line looks like. You cannot have a running back room that's going to be tiptoeing their happy asses up to the line of scrimmage. I will go toe-to-toe with anybody that covers LSU that if they think that what we saw yesterday in the running game is not massively a part of what the running back room was doing, God bless your soul. God bless you. God bless you. We were tiptoeing to the line of scrimmage. For the love of God, take the rock, find the hole, hit the hole, and run through that thing. Put your head down and run somebody over. Our mentality in the running game has been soft as shit. That is the truth. That is the truth. You have been softer than a bamboo pillow. Blake, bamboo's hard. If any of you have a wife, you know what a bamboo pillow is. Softer than a damn bamboo pillow. Your mentality has got to change in that room. And quite frankly, you need a dude that comes in that room and changes that mentality. I am sick and tired of hearing, oh, like this, oh, like that. Especially when on this handy-dandy eye Blake here, I can show you all 22 copies of you massively missing holes, of you massively tiptoeing to the line of scrimmage, and playing scared. I challenge anybody ask anybody that was at this wedding with me last night. Your boy was sitting there going through all 22 copy. God bless the state of LSU run game. You need to go get you a some bit. You need to go get somebody that gets the ball and lines up and run through somebody's face mask. I'm tired of the soft shift. I'm sorry, guys. We are tiptoeing to the line of scrimmage in the running game because we don't want to get hit. That is a fact. I'm sick of it. I'm quite honestly 87th. 87th. And you couldn't line up and run the football. Now, Josh Williams is no longer there. And Harlem Berry, for what it's worth, can be very special. He probably is going to be very special. But even Reggie Bush, as the comp is for Harlem Berry, had a Lindell White. You get what I'm trying to step in here. Lindell White, a former guest on the show. I'm sick and tired of it. All right. Let me get to a couple super chats here, and then we'll get to some phone calls. Then we'll get out of here. Alexander Taylor with a $5 super chat says, there is a lot of college football history revisionist when it comes to the SEC, when it will probably be 2 SEC teams in the championship game. I think that Ohio State, for what it's worth, Alexander, I do think it's going to be Ohio State and Georgia. That's my humble opinion. I love my co-host Joe to death. Love him to death. But everybody trying to take a victory lap behind the SEC in bowl games, they're dictating the conference based off of a bowl game. Jeez, I don't know. Like, for example, South Carolina had a running back at slot receiver yesterday, and Rocket Sanders didn't play. Kennard didn't play for South Carolina yesterday. One of their bona fide safeties didn't play for South Carolina yesterday. And you're wanting me to come out here and dictate, because Illinois won the football game, that they would have beat them in a regular season or playoff type scenario. Get out of here. A running back at slot receiver. Spare me. Brad Ledette with a $10 super chat says, any chance they tell Tre'Dez Green he's not allowed to join the basketball team? I'd rather him get ready for spring to continue growth he showed yesterday at tight end. Brad, I highly doubt that they tell him that he can't go play basketball. I highly, highly, highly doubt that. Highly doubt that. I agree with you on this, Brad. Let me say this. I have not seen the kid play college basketball. So what do I know? For all I know, the kid might be exceptional at both. I don't think that his career is going to be built in basketball, personally. I think his career is going to be built at playing tight end. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't necessarily disagree with you there. Josh Jones with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Josh. Says, thanks, Blake, as always. As fans, we forget the process of development. Nuss, over his 3 games, has been more disciplined and decisive. Example is Bama game, not taking the drag route on second down, taking what's given in the last 3. So Josh brings up an interesting point here. Thank you, Josh, for the super chat there. Listen, it's very simple for Garrett. I say it's very simple. It's not simple. But it's simple to talk about the positives and the issues. He developed when Brian Kelly sat in them meetings with him on what he does and doesn't need to do. Let's call a spade a spade. He's taking the last 3 games. He's taking what a defense has given him. Then he's taking the shot. I'm for that. I don't mind the interception. I don't mind the pick at all. You got baited. You threw a pick. So who gives a shit? It's going to happen. Great defensive minds are going to put you in comparable or very bad situations. And Dave did. Guys, Dave was the DC here. We know how brilliant he can be. So what? But, guys, the turnovers, he had 17 turnovers. That is too much. He led the SEC in turnovers this year. You guys understand that, correct? He led the SEC in turnovers. He is getting and becoming better. There is nobody on planet Earth that will tell you that Garrett does not have the athletic ability or the ability to be elite. He has that ability. Decision-making has got to be better. That's it. He's got to start turning the ball over. That's it. It's very difficult for me, Josh, very difficult for me that we have the debate of it's very crazy to me that people yell and scream at me on social media. I guess you can't yell and scream on social media, but get mad at me or aggravated with me about me coming out here and saying 17 turnovers is too much. It's wild to me. Sam Lowe with a $5 super chat. What's up, Sam? Says, what's the chance that no DB from yesterday starts against Clemson? 0%. Zero. I mean, let me be careful here. I mean, because Sam, here's the truth. All right, let's walk through this. Let me write this down. All right. Far left boundary, let's go. I'll give you Delane. Slot or star in a Scarborough, let's just say Perkins. Or in a slot, let's say Woodland. Say free safety, let's say Gilbert at the current moment. Or Spears. Strong, let's say Toviano. And then far right boundary, I'm going to say Stamps or Pickett. The likelihood you don't have safeties. There's been some careless reporting from LSU side, careless reporting about you going and getting a starter at safety in the playoff. Okay. You better pray to God. But the likelihood of somebody from yesterday not starting at this exact moment doesn't look favorable. Doesn't look favorable. So you need safeties. You need safeties. Penn Jones with a $10 super chat says, we needed safeties, running back, special teams coach. Completely agree. I think you could use it. Let me say this too, Penn. I wouldn't mind going after a tackle if it was a special person. It is interesting to me that Weston Davis did not play hardly at all yesterday. Very noticeable to me. But I agree with all of those things. Special teams coach is probably the biggest. And you don't even have to make him a special teams coach, like an on-technical field position, because now with the analyst roles, with the analyst roles and analysts being able to coach on field now, that rule being passed, make somebody hire. I'm throwing this out there. Hire Greg McMahon back if you need to. I'm tired of seeing that. I'm tired of seeing the bad snaps. I'm tired of seeing the lack of effort, and I'm tired of this little bowing motion shit. You're kicking a 30-yard field goal. Good on you. But that's not on special teams either. Meaning it's not on the snap was bad. You've had multiple bad snaps. The problem and you had a bad snap on a punt. Now, punter, you went and got a kid that was exceptional at downing punts inside the 10-yard line from Middle Tennessee State. But the snaps were bad. The snaps were dog shit. But the blocked field goal is that Bo Borderline got blown up to high heaven, to kingdom come. You need somebody that specializes in it. I agree with that. Jesse O'Neill with a $5 super chat says the starting Miami safety just hopped in the portal. Must get him at all costs. Jesse, here's what I'll say. I know nothing about the kid, but Miami fans said that he was their Sage Ryan, if that makes sense. I am not taking anybody out of Miami's DB room. They were god-awful. God-awful. I mean, it's so bad that Guidry got fired. Let me say this before we get out of here, too. I got reached out to by Lance Guidry's family on Ruffino and Joe show. They did not like the way that I talked about their family member and Lance Guidry. Lance Guidry was fired yesterday. Some very bad hate mail. So if you're watching this, a lot of you are LSU fans. If you're watching this, first off, I told you it was coming. But second off, I mean, attacking somebody based off their opinion that Miami's defense sucks when they did suck, good gracious. Mello with a $5 super chat says, who do you have starting at wide receiver next year? I have 4 because I think you're going to go into different packages. I think the 4 that you will have will be Anderson, Brown, Nick Anderson, Aaron Anderson, Brown, and Hilton. And I think that shit's dangerous. I think that the receiving room that LSU will put on the field next year is I want to be careful here. I think that they have the potential to not only be one of the best, if not the best in the SEC. I think that they have the talent to be one of the better ones in the country. The only one that comes to mind at the current moment right now that would be elite would be Ohio State because of Jeremiah Smith. I don't think Bama has it. I think Texas could have a very good room. Ironically, I think that Florida might have a really good wide receiver room. With Eugene Wilson coming back, they get in Dallas Wilson. What can he do as a freshman? But they got weapons at Florida too. I'm trying to think from Oregon, I think has developed well. You have the potential, man. You have the potential to be elite there. Nolan Wright the fourth with a $10 super chat says Green looks like he's going to be a star. I agree with you, Nolan. That was a great game for his confidence. Only thing that makes me nervous is his legs look out of control under his body in the open field. And the crazy thing about that, Nolan, is that he's only going to get better and he's only going to grow into his body more. Garrett went to him on 3 third downs. One for a touchdown, one where he had the big gain on the drag route. Well, look, I'll just say this. I was at a wedding last night and we were sitting there and I was talking to somebody who shall remain nameless. How do I want to say this? Because I don't want to expose, but the person that I talked to last night, to me, who's in the NFL, is employed by the NFL. I say the NFL, employed by a team in the NFL, playoff team in the NFL. It was of his opinion that Tre'Dez Green was the best athlete on the field yesterday for either team overall, and I agree with him. Athlete, I agree with him. All right, last one. I don't know if we're going to take phone calls because I got some stuff I need to do here. Went a little long. Might not be able to take phone calls, so I apologize for that. I am Alex with a $2 super chat. Says not all on the DBs. Pass rush was horrible. Here's the thing about pass rush, guys. They didn't. I agree, Alex. I agree with you on this. I agree with you that you did not have a good enough pass rush. I also don't think that you had enough time to get to Robinson either. And Blake did not send pressure. Hardly ever. Hardly ever. But man, I don't. I'm sorry. You were ass. You were ass. You gave up 445 yards. Pass rush or no pass rush. That's ass. Let's call it what it is. All right. Let's see, because I got to go here. We got to get ready for the playoffs. All right. I'm sorry about the no live call in. Well, I'll make it up to you somehow, some way. We'll do that. How about this? We'll do a live call in tomorrow. How about that? I promise you. All right. We'll see y'all soon. I hope you all have a great new year. Until then, y'all have a good day, man. Peace out, Girl Scouts.